Now, the Hawks have applied for a court order to access cell phone records of ANC MPs that are linked to bribery allegations involving suspended Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane. And this comes after Mkhwebane's husband, David Skosana, opened a case of extortion against the MPs, including late former Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson. Skosana alleges that ANC Chief Whip Pemmy Majodina, Committee Chair Richard Dyantyi and Pettersson attempted to extort money from him to make the inquiry against his wife disappear. Let's get your reaction now and bring in Section 194 committee member and UDM leader Bantu Holomisa, who joins us now via our video link. Tina Holomisa, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks, as always, for speaking to Newzroom Afrika. I wonder how you reckon this will all play out. I mean, can you envision a scenario where the Hawks are denied access to these records?
I hope not, because if they are denied, that dark cloud will continue to hang over the heads of the suspects. And I hope that this matter could be sped up so that we continue with our work.
Absolutely. But, you know, so much has been said already. I mean, the Public Protector, suspended Public Protector herself, had a media briefing of some kind where she laid bare what she knows. I mean, to what extent do you reckon that was enough, quite frankly, for this matter to reach some kind of conclusion, no matter what that conclusion is?
Well, so far it would appear that he fulfilled her promise, that she had the conversation through her husband with the late member. And the WhatsApp and the tapes and the voice, it depends where you stand. Some of people say that was the voice of the late lady. So I would say the public protector currently, the onus now is the onus is on the police who are investigating, and also perhaps the voice experts to determine as to whether indeed that is her voice. But so far it would appear, I would give the public protector's version of evidence, says 65 to 70%.
And what do you base that on?
I'm basing on the connection between the WhatsApp and the voice of the person who was trying to extort the husband of the public protector. So at least she has brought evidence. So the state must go and investigate. They have been helped. I'm even surprised that they are only thinking of obtaining the cell phones of the two members of parliament. They should have confiscated those phones from day one.
Right. So just to make sure we don't misquote you, you as things stand by the version of events as presented by the suspended Public Protector?
Yes, definitely. I fully support that, and I think that tape and the conversations are correct.
How does
whether the culprit who was trying to extort was representing herself and tried to rope in the other MPs, that matter should be now left entirely to the police. But in terms of the WhatsApp and the voice, I fully concur that it is correct.
How then do you continue being part of the Section 194 committee? Well, I suppose you've answered that question in some part, because you're saying that, yes, the veracity of this evidence stands the test, but you're not quite sure if the claims that Dyantyi and Pemmy Majodina were actually roped into this are true. Is that right?
Yes, we cannot be sure, especially that the telephone conversation between the culprit and the two MPs has not been proved.
Right.
However, we don't have to prove beyond reasonable doubt when we deal with this matter insofar as the chairperson is concerned. Balance of probabilities is sufficient enough to say, in the interest of the parliament, and indeed in the interest of the integrity of the inquiry, he should step aside. But there are many people who are competent who can chair that that inquiry, and we need to finish this inquiry as soon as possible.
I find that interesting because there are some people who are concerned that if the chairperson would be replaced, that very act, that move would delay the inquiry itself, which many people agree with you, doesn't have a lot of time left.
No, that would not affect the process. What is needed here is that one of the ANC members or DA members who are part of this inquiry, one of them can chair this inquiry because they've been here from the start. So you don't have to bring somebody from outside.
Sure, but General, let's be fair. We know how these things typically go. I mean, even if it was somebody who was in the room from the beginning, if we find ourselves in a situation where the chairperson of such a delicate process has to be replaced, there are going to be arguments from someone in the room that this chairperson must be given more time, or some legal team needs to acquaint themselves with how things are going to move forward. I can imagine a lot of people arguing that it's going to lead inevitably to a delay.
Well, if they choose to do so, they do so because they have been instructed. But I'm commenting on, based on my argument, on simply applying a merit. But if we have a chairperson who is questionable, then some of us also we will say on record that we don't agree that a questionable individual can chair this session because it's going to compromise the integrity of the inquiry. So it's 50 again.
It certainly is, if you want to dice it that way. The chairperson himself argues that we should continue with the process. And if he is absolved, at least it wasn't wasted time. Is that something that you find agreeable?
No, he has to leave immediately. We don't need him in that chair. These allegations are serious.
Right, okay. Bantu Holomisa, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. I think your position on this is crystal clear. Appreciate your time. Bantu Holomisa, of course, is a member of that 194 committee and also the leader of the UDM. In case you missed it, the Hawks are now asking for access to some cell phone records linked to the late Tina Joemat-Pettersson to ascertain whether or not there's any credence to those claims made that she roped in 2 other ANC MPs to try essentially extort the suspended Public Protector in exchange for making the inquiry disappear.